All right, it's March 21st. We got money. Everything is fine. The banking situation has stabilized and it's gone. Oh, wait, oh, wait. Oh my goodness, Chattadonia. Stock market is going to go crazy tomorrow. I have a big Powell breakdown, but it's breaking right now as I was getting ready to record this. The news came out that First Republic, them trying to find a deal with all these assets, they are now saying that they cannot do it without the government backstopping the deal. And that is absolutely insane. So if you didn't get that joke right now that I just showed you, why this is so big is because earlier today, all of the bank stocks bounced. They went to the highest they've been since this drop has happened, but still overall lower, I guess the higher range. But everything today, Janet Yellen, she came out today and she was saying the banking system is stable. The bank stocks were feeling good. FRC was even up 50%. And now they're dumping after hours. And like we said yesterday, if anything was going to get in Jerome Powell's way, it was going to be FRC, but now it seemed good all the way until the close. Big closing news after hours, and now we have Jerome Powell. So Chattadonia, it is going to be wild. FRC is definitely going to be on watch. You got to be watching all the other banking indexes, but now Jerome Powell tomorrow. This is going to be one of the most challenging Fed meetings ever. If you've listened to me before, you know something I like to tell you. I like to tell you it's crazy. I say it's important, the most important of the year. Well, I hope you've been paying attention because the last 3 Fed meetings, I have not said this has been the most important meeting. And even today, even coming into tomorrow is not the most important. It is literally the most challenging. So for the most part today, we are under the impression that the Fed futures are saying 25 basis points. However, I will tell you right now, everybody is still debating this. And some people, even Bloomberg, even big analysts on Wall Street, even Nomura, there is a lot of people still believing that a pause or even a rate cut still exists, and maybe even Powell will go against the history of the Fed future. So, Chad, we have a lot to talk about. I have everything. I got the plays, the keys, all of that. So like the video, and like I told you, we're almost at 300,000 subscribers. So I need that sub, baby. Hook it up, and God bless. Okay, so let's get into it. Hold on. I didn't even play the intro, so I don't even know what I did there. But anyways, here's what you need to understand about tomorrow, even leading into all of this. I mean, take a look. Shout out to Zero Hedge. They got this graphic here, but this has been the Fed futures over the last week or so. And you see this range from pricing in 50 basis points to pricing in a pause and now back to 80% of a 25 basis point hike. Well, that's 70 or so basis points of range. That is the biggest range since January and September of 2001. The only other time that range was that big on the Fed futures was also January and October 2008. And then the only other time was in March 2020, right before everything happened. So this is what I'm trying to tell you about tomorrow. The main theme is challenging. It's going to be challenging for traders. It is going to be challenging for all investors and for bank stocks. And ultimately, it is going to be probably the most challenging meeting for Powell to communicate everything that he needs to do. So that's where we're starting. It's a big event. The range and the volatility leading up to this has been absolutely unreal. But now the other part I want you to understand is coming into this event, people are saying that Jerome Powell is underpriced. They're saying the Fed meeting right now, it's only pricing in 1.9% as far as how much the market is going to move. However, it was only about I think 2 or 3 months ago, we have already had a 3% move on the CPI, or the Fed, excuse me. But what people are saying is that although there's a lot of volatility, chances are tomorrow isn't really capturing the full scope of all of it. So that's where I want to start. get an idea of how Fed futures have moved, get an idea of what's pricing in. But now let's start generally broad to understand the issue and why tomorrow will be challenging and what you need to be looking for. So the first thing, being very, very broadly, is understanding the Fed's mandate. So they have two different mandates. There's one you all know about, and it is the most important. It is price stability. The second one is arguably financial stability. Price stability, that's inflation, that's things moving up and down. Financial stability is the spreads on bonds and the US prices of US stocks, right? So the Fed has to balance both of these, but now tomorrow, Jerome Powell, with whatever action they do and explanation and the guide path through the SEP, Powell needs to be able to explain or convince the market that they can execute on both mandates without sacrificing one or the other. And this is now exactly why I've been telling you the last couple of days, if Powell does end up pausing, that's not going to be a good sign, because it's pretty much showing he is going to sacrifice price stability in order to pursue financial stability. So this is the whole theme. This is very, very broad of what people are going to be identifying with Powell. Is he going for price stability or is he going for financial stability? How can he do both while convincing us that he won't cut the other one off at the knees if a situation arises? So that's where we are now. But now the other side is that a pause or even a 25 basis point hike, it holds a lot of implications. Simply, if they pause, that could signal that the Fed is not confident with the banking system as of now, or maybe the Fed sees a problem on the horizon that the markets haven't digested yet. That is why if we pause, it will not be good, or people will start asking the questions. But now on the reverse, a small hike, even if it's 25 basis points, the other part that people are worried about is that a small hike could stress the banks and then stress them even further and then even spook other investors. So hopefully you see what I'm trying to tell you right now. This is going to be a very, very confusing, but more so challenging event. The best part about all of it is that thankfully we have the summary of economic projections tomorrow. So like I'm telling you, getting into this broad, this is hopefully what you could apply towards listening to Powell and when the statement comes out. But now at 2 p.m. Eastern, oh, and I forgot to tell you, we're live. We're going to be live. So you could watch all of this live if you're going to be there. But the idea is the summary of economic projections comes out. That's this right here. They're going to give expectations on GDP, on unemployment, where they think inflation will be, and then where they think the terminal rate will be. So here's the best part about it is that the SEP, it may signal what Powell is going to say. A lot of people are talking about it and saying if the SEP comes in very aggressive, that's probably going to back up Powell to justify a pause, and then vice versa. If the SEP comes in weak, don't expect a pause from Powell. So it's quite an interesting philosophy when you break it down, but hopefully you see what I'm saying here is that right when the release comes out, we will get a big piece of news, and that's going to tell us a little bit about where the Fed actually is feeling. So hopefully this example will help you, or this info. Like I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of confusing stuff. So we don't know if the dot plot is going to be higher or lower, but what you need to be watching for is if it is dramatically higher or dramatically lower. That is how I'm going to be looking at it tomorrow to determine, okay, yeah, we got something big on our hands or not. Maybe Powell's going to try to toe the line to convince that he could balance both mandates, right? But thankfully, I got something easy for you. It's very simple. 5.1%. 5.4. These are for the terminal rate hike projections. If on the dot plot on the SEP at 2 p.m. Eastern, if that number comes below 5.1 on the median for where people think rates are, nobody is expecting that, and that is a dramatic shift lower. That will cause a big reaction, and vice versa. A terminal rate above 5.5%, that is going to upset things, and that will show a much, much more aggressive picture, and maybe it'll tie into all of the inflation data that we've gotten so far. So that's going to be the easiest thing. Realistically, the SEP tomorrow is probably going to give us the most info until we hear from Powell, and even then, if Powell is hard to digest or he plays both ways, that SEP is what people will be hanging on to for the next couple of days and weeks. So the next thing you got to be looking for now is going to be the actual statement and then interview. But what I'm looking for in the statement as well for Powell to talk about, it is going to be the phrase continuing rate hikes or ongoing rate hikes. We've brought this up in the past and it has been very, very important. However, right here, right now, it means so much more, because if Powell comes in, he could go in and raise rates, but say ongoing rates will not continue, or we do not see continuing, or he'll keep rate hikes and then remove the term ongoing. That would pretty much say I'm raising now but going to pause in the future. That term ongoing or continuing, that could move things around a lot, and realistically we want to see how he discusses that in the statement, because by saying what they plan to do continuing or ongoing, we're going to have an idea for now the May and June meetings. And one thing to keep in mind is that he might even use this opposite to how you're thinking. Like I'm telling you, he could come in and say, yeah, we're going to raise rates, but plan on no more ongoing increases. Or he could raise rates and even say, no, we are keeping ongoing and we still plan to stay committed to financial stability. Like I'm saying, even though we've dealt with all of this pressure recently, don't forget what has happened over the last year and a half with Powell, everything he has said, and there is a good chance things may be more confusing. That's why even the dot plot coming in higher over 5.5, that's one of those unexpected things, but sadly, that can still happen tomorrow. So watch out for that. And then the next thing, the final thing, I actually have two more for you, but this one is big. This one is during the press conference. What we need to be watching for is how Powell explains the new facilities. How does he explain the BTFP? That's the Bank Term Funding Program they released after signature. How does he explain the $300 billion on the balance sheet? And get ready for him. He is probably going to talk about this in depth tomorrow. He's going to go into detail explaining these facilities, but also explaining, well, we don't use a one-size-fits-all approach for rates, and we have other tools, and that's why by using these facilities. So you've heard it before, but the answer to these questions, that is going to guide the market on really what sort of stimulus can we expect if things keep playing the way they are playing. So that one is going to be a little bit more subjective. We're going to need his answer. And again, on top of all of it, the cherry on top that I'm putting here is simply Powell's attitude. Remember, he came in very dovish in February and you felt it. Everybody in the market was aware of it. Be on the lookout for his attitude and how he responds to things, because that could overall set some of the sentiment as well too. So there's that. The final thing I want you to understand for tomorrow, given how volatile this situation has been with the banks and where we're at now, there is a very good chance that we will get a dissenter on the decision. Chances are you may finally get one member who says, no, I think we should pause. I think we should go higher. I think we should go even higher. And given the situation, this is going to be big. And now the more dissenters there are right now, I'm expecting at least one. If there's a bunch, oh my gosh, that'll open up all the possibilities and volatility will go through the roof, as now that means even the Fed isn't really deciding. And then maybe it's kind of hinting or seeing the ground shake a little bit more and getting closer to a big shakeup. But we will see. That is everything. Like I'm telling you, watch out for the dot plot. Watch out for ongoing. Understand the difference between the balance of financial stability and price stability and how Powell addresses this. That's what we got to watch for. But sadly, it's kind of a lose-lose no matter what. Like I've been telling you, do I think you could get short-term bullish reactions? Yes. But depending on what we learn about the banking situation, and sadly, like I'm saying with FRC, bro, if this thing blows up right before Powell, I mean, God forbid, that would be even wilder. But so far, it is going to be very challenging for Powell to do anything without anybody leaping to a bunch of different conclusions. like I've just outlined for all of you. So Chad, I hope you're ready. We'll see you there live tomorrow. I'm playing the bonds again. I love the bonds right now. I think they're really expensive short term, but if something pops off, you got a lot of long-term room. So I think you're taking the risk on any other play right now in the world. You might as well be going for the bonds. Is it going to be a TLT play? I don't know. I don't have it guaranteed yet, but maybe after Powell, depending on what info we get, then I'll know it's guaranteed, or then we'll know, wait a minute, you got way better chances with tech stocks than going for bonds. So we'll see what happens. But Chad, I love you. I'll see you in the morning. That's your watch list. I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't have too many props. Oh, no, I did. I have money props today. We have money props today. I got a Swiss passport. Where's my passport, bro? I need my other passport. Like, what the hell? Like, where's America, man? Man. And Chad, I love you. And thank you guys for subscribing and supporting. I just want to talk to y'all for a little bit. I just want to tell you, you want to have a heart-to-heart. Last time I told you a heart-to-heart, you made fun of me. I don't know. I'm balding. You can't see it. I mean, can I show you it? But like, oh, that's my... All right, I'm going to just go. So I love you. Pray for me, all right? Amen. Wisdom, prophecy. Amen.